G'day guys, welcome back to another Shannons Engineering walk around video. My name's Shannon and today I'm going to show you around this beautiful car behind me. This is pretty much our biggest and best build to date and I can't wait to show you all about it. There's going to be a lot of things on this car and I'm just going to run with it off the top of my head and try and remember every part we've done to it, so please bear with me. If I do forget anything, just head over to our website and check it out because there's going to be a full description list on there with some mad photos and heaps of information, so please bear with me if I forget things, but I'm just going to roll with it and see how we go. It is a big build. We've done this thing from the very beginning. We've had the car for a bit over a year now because we've had a few hiccups with COVID and lockdowns. We've had floods, bloody everything you can think of we've had to deal with, delays on parts. We're waiting nearly 8 months for suspension bits and pieces. So it took a while, but we got there in the end. Handover day is tomorrow and I'm super excited for the owner. He's flying down from Brisbane to pick it up and he's going to drive off into the sunset and begin his epic journey with it. So yeah, I'm super excited for that. A bit nervous actually about this video because I don't want to miss anything. So let's just get into it, eh? Okay, so moving around to the back of the car here, I just wanted to move the camera and show you how big this thing is compared to me. I can't even reach the bloody shovel, so she's a big rig. She's got a dominating stance on the road. The portal axles give it around 6 inches of lift, including the 35-inch tyres. It's 80mm wider wheel track front and back, so it's a lot more stable on the road, and it's also got a 1-inch lift kit. So the 1-inch lift kit is keeping it fully straight wide, and it's keeping the headlights within the specific road rules for headlight height. That's pretty much the highest you can go on a four-wheel drive, so keeping it fully road legal. You don't have to worry about getting pulled over by the cops. You don't have to worry about all that shit. Engineering, it's all done pre-rego too, so you don't have to worry about re-registering it or getting defected and things like that. So fully street legal, Australia wide, go in here where you want and not have to worry. So that's a really good thing about the portal axles, is you get the biggest, highest, widest car. Cops can't do anything about it. So oh yeah, and another thing about the portal axles is you also have gear reductions built into the portals, and you have a transmission handbrake. They've removed the drum brakes from the back and put it up at the back of the gearbox there, so you don't have to worry about getting mud in your drums. And yeah, if you put it in four-wheel drive as well, you do have four-wheel brakes then, a four-wheel handbrake so to speak. So putting it in four-wheel drive, using the handbrake on the back of the transmission there, you're actually using all four wheels. So a big heavy car like this parking on the hills, you don't have to worry about it, or it's still going to be there when you come back so to speak. So that's another good thing about the portals. Moving right along, okay, so obviously we've got our huge big tray and canopy there. I want to go into that in great detail, but just while I'm looking at the exterior of the car, you can see we've blacked out everything we can, so all the accessories we've fitted are usually black. It's just a really nice touch. Okay guys, we're moving around to the front of the vehicle, and as you can see we've got the ARB Deluxe Bull Bar with these extra little pipies here. These are just good for hitting roofs and keeping your headlights nice and protected. There's a lot on the front going on here, as you can see. I'm just going to go through them one by one. We've got the steady, this is the new Armac light bar. This has actually got a few different light functions built into that. So we've got all the buttons and switches in the center console, which I'll go through later. A customised plates with the Malcolm Douglas theme there, being the Aussie Outback Adventurer. We've got the worn 11,000 pound winch with the Factor 55 Ultra Hook. We've got some radiator protection plate under there, recovery point, and Mark's four-wheel drive also have a 5mm steel radiator protector under there as well. So being such a big car, first thing you're probably going to crack it going up rocks is the radiator, so that's nice and safe. Plenty of ground clearance under here. We can easily drive over milk crates, no worries. The ground clearance is just bloody phenomenal, so I really love that. We've got little steady C4 cubes built into the side there. These are going to light up the bushes to the sides of the road, but they still don't interfere with the headlights at all, so that's a nice little touch there, and I think that's going to be quite popular with our cars. Stone chip protector there, and you guys won't be able to see this on film, but this has actually been wrapped in a clear XPEL PPF full vehicle wrap. All the white parts on the car there have been wrapped with it, and that's going to give you protection from the stones. And on top of that, we've got a ceramic coating too, so that's going to give you a hydrophobic film put on top, which is great for mud and rain and just all sorts of things. The car just stays clean all year round, and the film's also self-healing as well, so getting bush scratches down the sides of your car, if you just leave your car in the sun the next day, they're pretty much gone. I had the same thing fitted to my car, and it's bloody beautiful. I love it. Car's always shiny, no scratches, and it also has a 10-year warranty too, which is great. So what else we got here? We've got the stainless steel grille from us. We make our own laser cut stainless steel grille, and then we powder coat it back to black to fit in. LED headlight upgrade. We've got the Armac Snorkel LED light bar up the top there, another one from Steady, and the roof platform. The roof platform has heaps of gear on it, so I'm going to cut away to another video of that, because yeah, that thing's epic. Okay guys, moving right along. As you can see, we've got some fiberglass overmolded flares here. Now with the portal axle conversion, because the front and rear diffs are super wide, normally we would have to put a rubber strip on there to keep it road legal and keep your wheels underneath the mudguards. So instead, we've got a 4-inch wide fiberglass overmold, which is screwed on, and we've also wrapped that as well for a bit of protection. As you can see here with the bull bar, we've wrapped coated that. We've wrapped coated everything underneath the car for an extra stone protection. So I think it's a great finish, and it's durable, it's easy to respray if you ruin it, and it matches the car. So it's got that textured finish which pretty much matches this. Yeah, I love it. It's on my car. I highly recommend it too. So it's a nice finish. Yeah. Okay, moving right along, we've got the Armac Snorkel, we've got the OCAM towing mirrors and sunshade protector thingies, ARB side steps, and with the side steps we've powder coated the treads black, and we've wrapped coated the bars on top of the black paint they come with. That's just another level of stone protection. Having these wider portal axles, you are more inclined to get more stone chips down the side of your car because the front wheels are hanging out wider. So that just comes with it. You just got to get used to it, and the best thing you can do to stop it is have as much protection as you can. So, okay, let's talk roof platforms. Up the top there, we've got the Rhino rack roof platform, and we've shortened the legs to reduce that big gap underneath, the gap between your roof and the platform. That's going to stop a lot of wind getting under there and just lower the look of the car, get that farm ute out of it sort of thing. We've got our under eave lighting, which is pretty standard on all our builds we do. We have external waterproof switches on the sides here, so you can turn these white lights on, which are great for camping, finding things in the bush, hunting, you name it. And then we have an amber one. This is a new feature on our roof platforms. This is a much more subtle light. It's also a steady light, but it's just a bit more subtle on the eyes and camping and leaving it on all night sort of thing. Also electric switch, external switch, sorry. That's connected to the second battery in the engine bay, so you don't have to worry about your engine getting a flat battery. Next up, at the back of the rack, we've got the two aerials. They're on folding hinges, and we've got the Telstra Selfie, which is a phone signal booster, and then we've got the UHF aerial on the other side. So poking up, they're going to get better reception up on the roof, and they're not going to obstruct your bull bar and field of view while you're driving, because Personally, I think having aerials on the bull bar, they suck. They're just getting in your way and they sort of annoy you. You're always looking at them on the highway, and I think, yeah, better reception up there. You do have to obviously pop them up. You can't leave them up when you're in town, but then again, you don't really need them when you're in town because they still work with the aerials down. And yeah, using your UHF around town, you're still going to have a signal, but when you're getting onto the open roads or in the bush, just pop them up for a better signal. And lastly, we've got the Max Tracks. We've got the Max Tracks holder up there, recovery tracks, making use of the storage up on the roof there. Hopefully he's never going to need them, but they're there when you have to. Alright guys, next up, the tray and canopy. As you can see here, we've got the Shannons Engineering tray and canopy, and they look bloody amazing, all in Raptor black. The tray is partially steel and partially aluminium, and the canopy is full aluminium, all TIG welded. These are two separate entities and they are totally independent from each other. So if you wanted to buy a tray from us at one time, you can always come back and get a canopy later on. Or even if you wanted to have two canopies, you can have one for work, one for play. You can have any sort of combination you want. The tray frame itself is steel, this part here. The perimeter frame and the chassis rails, all the parts that connect to your car are steel, and the rest is aluminium. So your mud guards, your toolboxes, your trunk drawer, everything underneath is aluminium. And yeah, the headboard's steel. And the good thing about the headboard shape matching the canopy is frontal protection from branches and sticks. Anything like that coming along through the scrub is going to take out your canopy if that wasn't there. So obviously, if you look here, we've got at least 150mm wider than the cab itself. So that does cop it a bit if you like tight tracks like myself. We have pumped out the guards here. These flares have been widened to match the portal axles, as I mentioned earlier, in the front, and we can set them up to any width you like when ordering. The toolboxes, these do have automatic lighting and central locking. We also have the ARB compressor outlet on both sides of the toolboxes. So this is also a DRL and an indicator, this little SE logo there, so that's a nice touch from us. The canopy, this side here is the dog box, and the other side is the kitchen side, which I'm going to go through in a minute, but just talking about the exterior while I'm at it, you can see we have the Alucab 3.1 rooftop tent up the top there, some rear little lights on a nice little gimbal. We love these little steady lights, they're nice and bright, and we've put them on some ram mounts too, so you can actually turn this around if I can bloody reach it. These do turn around for camping. This is going to light up this whole area, or even forward driving in the dark, because this is normally a blind spot, forward driving tight tracks in the dark. You can't really see this area here, so having the ability to turn these lights on and light up that in the dark is priceless. Doing up that ram mount, they don't move at all, so a nice little touch. You can also see here we've got our two spare tyres on the back, and our canopy is a wee bit shorter, so the tyres are actually sitting on the back of the tray and they're not putting any weight on the canopy whatsoever. They are, however, bolted to the back, but at least the weight's all transferred down to the tray, and we're not exceeding any more overhang weight at the back there. Okay, inside the canopy, let's have a look, eh? Again, this is the dog palace, I'm going to call it. What we have here is removable partition walls and a full dog area. So this side is completely sealed from the other side, allowing you to have wet or dirty side, so you call it. And these partition walls are great for having multiple dogs, luggage and dogs, or don't have to be dogs, it could be any animal, but having your pets in one area and then luggage in another and having them separated. Or if you've got two pets that don't get along, you can have them in there again. Or if you just want to put your luggage in there and separate it, you can have your firewood there, your pet there, and your bags there. Or you can take them out together and you can put some swags in there. The possibilities are endless. If you notice, the door does have a nice cover there. That's a waterproof cover. So for putting your luggage in there and what have you, it's going to be nice and dry. Or you can remove the cover and you'll have a nice big vented door there. So vented doors allowing a little bit of airflow for the dogs. We also do have a 12-volt fan built in, which is controlled from in the car and in the canopy. And and an insulated ceiling. Alright guys, I forgot to mention earlier that this has a extra 12 volt outlet built into this side, and that's connected to the Red Arc Red Vision system for anything you want to plug into this side. You could have a second beer fridge, chest freezer, or any sort of 12 volt device. If you want to charge all your camera gear or anything like that while you're on the road, we have allowed for that and got another 12 volt totally independent circuit there for that. Also, if you guys are wondering what this little stainless steel thing here is, this is for our under tray 12 volt water pump system. We've got a 60 litre water tank under the tray, and to access that water, all you've got to do is connect this little device, quarter turn, and you're on. And then obviously a little secret switch there to turn the pump on. You can connect a hose onto there with a trigger nozzle. The pump does have a pressure switch built into it, so if you did leave the pump on, and as long as the water ain't coming out, then the pump's going to turn off, which is handy, especially if you have a 20 metre hose and a trigger nozzle at that end. You can just leave the pump power on, so to speak. We have one of these on both sides, so accessing water from the footpath side or this side, no worries, and we just keep that in the back trundle drawer. To fill the water tank up, we do have another tap outlet at the back there, and you just connect that to your mains water pressure and you can fill the tank that way. And that lower brass fitting does actually double up as a low pressure tap outlet. If you want to just wash your feet or fill up a glass of water without using this, you can just turn the tap down there. Rightio guys, and we're at the back of the car now, and as you can see, it looks bloody fantastic from the back as well as the front. I really love the pops of colour, attention to detail. You can see from under the back here, everything is so clean and everything has a purpose. So starting off, you can see we've got the high mount 3.5 tonne tow bar. This is from Mark's four-wheel drive, and they've made that to give you an extra nearly 100 mil of ground clearance, and it also has two 5-tonne recovery points built into the ends. That's a great feature, and that's pretty much why I love using these ones. And on top of that, we've got the Runva 11XP winch with synthetic rope and the Factor 55 winch hook as well. These winches are connected together up to the front battery with a wireless controller for each of them, and in-cab power control. You can turn the power for these winches on from inside the car. You don't have to pop the bonnet and turn that stupid switch thing, so that's a nice touch. As mentioned earlier, we've got the brass for the water. That's the in and the out. We've even included a little hand soap bottle there with some Jif in it. So anyone with a full drive is going to know that Jif is the ultimate hand cleaner. Now I love this shit. Okay, also underneath the tray here, you probably can't see from the camera, is we have two 9 litre aluminium air tanks. These air tanks are connected to the ARB twin piston compressor located in the rear toolbox, and that's going to give you stored air. Just like your compressor at home, you know, the big tank on the bottom, having stored air is just going to take a bit of pressure off the compressor, and when you want to use that stored air, you don't have to wait for the compressor either. So pumping up your tyres or using air tools, so to speak, you're going to have 18 litres of compressed air at 150 psi. So it's a nice touch. It doesn't cost that much more. They're up out of the way, and yeah, this car's got airbags as well. So using the airbag controls, you don't need to turn the compressor on for that if they've already got air in them, obviously. So the compressor is fitted with a 150 psi pressure switch as well. So you could technically leave the compressor switch on, and it's going to get up to the 150 psi and turn itself off, and that way these tanks are always got air stored in them, ready to rock and roll. Also on the tray here, we've got rock lights. You can't really see these. These come on the circuit, and they're standard with all our trays. This piece here is steel, like I mentioned earlier, but the trundle drawer, the air tanks, the toolboxes, the flooring sheets of the tray are aluminium as well, so that's reducing the weight as well. And then, yeah, the trundle drawer here is tucked in nicely. All aluminium. It's also sealed, and it does have a bottom in it as well, so that's going to stop any dust and shit getting into your trundle drawer when you're off on the bush tracks, dirt roads and what have you. We've connected the tail lights using the genuine Toyota plug there, so if you ever want to take your tray off, we have them changed any of the wiring of the tray, the car, so to speak. And that pretty much wraps it up for under here. No, it doesn't. I forgot to mention this. We've got the twin torque at 3.5 inch to 3 inch stainless steel system, and that's from the DPF back. So keeping the car fully road legal. I think having a matching twin exhaust on this just finishes it off, finishes up the rear of the guards there. Sounds good, looks good. I have the same on my car, pretty happy with it, so yeah. Alright guys, so moving around this side of the car, as you can see above me we do have the Alucab 270 shadow awning. That thing there wraps right around the back of the car and butts up to the back of the canopy. It does not interfere with the canopy doors or the usage of the tent or anything at the back of the car. All the lights are still underneath the eave, and even these ones here, they're underneath the awning. So you've got plenty of light, plenty of cover from the rain and the sun. It does not interfere with the canopy door at all either. It doesn't rub on this bit here, so it couldn't be better. Okay, let's get right into this side, eh? This one's probably our craziest work of art. This owner has asked for the Red Arc Red Vision system, so we have delivered that. All the internal walls in here have been insulated and wrapped in a carbon wrap. We've got the white insulated ceiling as I mentioned before. Canopy door is also white inside with their amber light function. Probably can't see that on camera because it's the middle of the day, but looking in here you can see we've got the Red Arc Manager 30 and the Red Vision system and the touchscreen display right here. Now this display controls all the switching of all the stuff in the canopy, including the external lighting, your tent power, the dog fan I mentioned earlier. Straight away you can see we've got the 85 litre upright Dometic freezer. We have carbon wrap in front of that to match the theme of the canopy. You get the freezer up the top. Beautiful fridge storage space, doesn't take up any room, it's nice and light, works a treat, straight in, straight out, no digging into a chest fridge, so that's the reason why we like these fridges as opposed to a chest one. Being portal axles, if you had a chest fridge come out and down here, it's going to be up here, you're not going to be able to see. This is just like being at home. Up the top there, we've got the Travel Buddy marine oven. This thing is a beauty. We pretty much put them into all our canopies because they're just such an asset to have. If you can't be bothered cooking, or it's too hard, or it's too windy, or you're not allowed a lot of fire, or you just couldn't be bothered and you just want to drive, you can always put something in there and cook it on the road. So these are a great piece of work and I recommend anyone having one of those. My car actually has two even, so this is all running off two 100 amp hour lithium Red Arc batteries tucked in behind the fridge there, and set and forget, you don't need to get to them, they just do their thing. The weight's above the axle, they're out of the way, and which leads me to this drawer system here. We're using a plastic drawer solution, basically your kitchen drawers. You can take these out, move them over there on your kitchen bench, or you can leave them in here. I've got so much stuff packed into my car. They take up little room, they're nice and light. It's better than having a drawer, because imagine having a drawer in this car. It's going to be bloody up here above your face. You're not even going to be able to see it, let alone get anything out of it. So this is a nice easy solution. Again, it's taken up so little area in the canopy. It's obviously modular as well if you want to change the drawer rotations or take them out altogether. It's just bloody perfect in my opinion. We have a built-in breadboard which is velcroed into the carpet. A nice touch, and instead of having to set up a little kitchen bench, you can easily just use that right there. Having the velcro there is making sure it's going to be there when you finish your full driving. And yeah, we've also wrapped the front of the fridge here to go with the theme of the carbon finish. And I guess lastly, this Red Vision system is pretty cool. The idea of having all your peripheral devices on these little switches there has given us the option for a second display inside the car. So what we've done up the front there is we've removed the revision mirror and we've put the Red Vision display up the front there, allowing you to control all these buttons from in the driver's seat. You can also keep an eye on your battery levels, We've also fitted this thing with a water tank sensor, so you can see how much water's in your tank from here and from in the car. We've also got 2 temperature sensors. We've got one in the dog area and one in the fridge. So having the ability to see the temperatures and monitor the history, you can look back. You can look back in the settings there and see all your voltages and your solar, your temperature settings, and there's so much to explain there. I'm not going to go into detail. If you want to know more about the Red Vision system, you can obviously check out the Red Arc pages on the website, or you can see our website with a bit better description. Okay, and then lastly, solar panels. We have 3 120 watt solar panels on the roof there. They're also from Red Arc, and they're connected into this Manager 30 system. And just in case that wasn't enough, we've also installed a 50 amp Anderson plug at the back of the canopy, and that's for if you want to have an extra solar blanket out in the sun and keep your car parked in the shade or whatever. Possibilities are endless there. These 3 panels are going to keep this battery topped up at all times while you're not using the car, and if it goes a little bit low, just start the car up and you'll be back to full charge in no time. Moving along up the front here, you can see we have our canopy connection plugs up there. If you ever want to take your canopy off, all you're going to do is remove these plugs here and off she comes. This canopy is designed to be a standalone unit. All the stuff I've just mentioned earlier with the Red Arc and the power, everything like that, that's all going to work without the car as well. So you can literally take this thing off and it's still going to run. You're going to have all your power, you've got your solar, and we've even put a 240 volt caravan input plug at the back, which if you want to run this thing on shore power or charge it up quicker, the Red Arc Manager 30 is going to take care of that using the 240 volt input. Also, we have the solar and the 10 power plug up there in case you wanted to take the 10 off for some reason. Perhaps you just don't want it on there all the time and you want to drive around without it. You've got a caravan, for example, you don't need the 10 anymore. You can remove that and just simply unplug the plugs there. And then you can even use that for a solar blanket or what have you. Okay, while we're on the topic of removing the canopy, let me explain how this works. This canopy is fitted with some electric rams built into the structure inside there, so you don't have those manual winding lifting legs. All you got to do is turn the rams on from your Red Arc Red Vision system there. That's going to send power to the rams, and you got your up and down buttons here. To take the canopy off, remove those plugs I mentioned earlier, take the 4 bolts out of the corners, separating your canopy from your tray, and then just press the canopy up button. That's going to lift your canopy up around 150 high off the tray, allowing you to insert the legs. We're selling this guy with some fixed canopy legs with a adjustable foot pad. All you're going to do is slide the legs in there, retract the rams, and drive off. So there's no manual lifting, no manual winding, no running around the car. The legs are telescopic as well for uneven ground, and you do have a finer adjustment in the bottom there with around about 100 mil of play with the adjustable foot. So any uneven ground, if it does wobble a bit when you get it off, you can fix that. And that's also going to be leaving your awning and your tent and your fridge, your power, or everything set up. It's going to be like basically a remote base station where you can go for a play, go for a wheel, leave all this set up at your campground, and then you can just take your car into town and get some more beers or whatever you want to do with that. So we are perfecting that. We've been working on it for quite a while. I do have the same system in my car as well, so far so good, and I think that's going to be fitted to all our canopies in the future. Everyone seems to love that. I think that covers the canopy, guys. Like I said earlier, there is going to be plenty more information available on our website on this. I'm trying my best to do this video and remember all the things that are attached to this car. The list is so long, so if I have forgotten something, please just get on the website, check it out. Full list of description on there and plenty of photos, so let's carry on. Okay, let's talk about the engine bay. What have we got here? First up, it is never going to be this clean again, so let's all admire the beauty of this perfectly clean engine bay. That's one of the things we do love at Shannons Engineering, working on brand new cars, is there's no mud. They're nice and clean. No one's raped them. It's beautiful. Okay, so where do I start? As you can see up the front there, we do have the GSL stainless steel airbox and intake pipe work. All the way down to the turbo, we have left the turbo standard. On the back of that, we do have the torque and exhaust, which I mentioned earlier, and it's also had a GSL tune too. And we've also got the intercooler fan kit as well there. So that's connected to the second battery, and it also has a low voltage disconnect too. So you don't have to worry about that bad boy flattening your battery. Up the back here, we've got a dual battery system. That's 105 amp hour, I believe. And that's running all our secondary devices of the car. This battery here is purely for starting, and that is it. So anything, we've got the tray, the canopy, the red arc system, the external lighting, all that stuff is running off this second battery. So you know in the morning, this one here will get you home. Down the bottom of the engine there, you can't see it from where we are, but we have installed the rapid power 150 amp sealed alternator. That thing is a lifesaver, totally water and dust proof, mud proof, everything proof. It's actually water cooled using the hot water heater system in the car, and it's pumping out 150 amps, so I'm going to charge these batteries quicker. We've also got the little red arc BC to DC in the front there, which is keeping this one topped up, and it also has a solar input as well. So you got solar inputs galore on this car. All right, that's a jam. Okay, let's talk about the engine bay. What have we got here? First up, it is never going to be this clean again. So let's all admire the beauty of this perfectly clean engine bay. That's one of the things we do love at Shannons Engineering, working on brand new cars, is there's no mud. They're nice and clean. No one's raped them. It's beautiful. Okay, so where do I start? As you can see up the front there, we do have the GSL stainless steel airbox and intake pipe work. All the way down to the turbo, we have left the turbo standard. On the back of that, we do have the torque and exhaust, which I mentioned earlier, and it's also had a GSL tune too. So along with the tune, we've got the we've got the intercooler fan kit from GSL, connected to a battery. Along with the GSL tune, we've got the, and I think that's pretty much it for the engine bay. So, like I said earlier, it is never going to be this clean ever again. So let's take a minute to appreciate that. It's going to have years of abuse. Years. It's never ever going to look like this again. So we've spent many hours bending over this thing. Working on portal cruisers is a bloody pain in the arse sometimes, being so high. We've literally got milk crates strapped to our feet 24/7 to try and reach into the thing, but it is a work of art, and we're very proud of what we do. So attention to detail everywhere. We try and use stainless steel bolts where we can. I make sure all the cable ties are evenly spaced. Everything's conduited, so it's all double or triple insulated at all times. There's going to be no vibration on your cables. Underneath the car there, we also make sure that everything's in one conduit. So when we plan a build, we try and think about all the wiring that needs to go from the front to back before we actually start running it. So we all have that in one big conduit. So it's easily to tie off. It looks neater from underneath. It sucks working on someone else's car when you see conduit after conduit tied to each other, and you have about 5 million cable ties under there. You don't know what does what. At least this way it's all wrapped up nice and neat. Only one set of hands has worked on it, so it's much easier to understand what's going on, and everything's there for a purpose. There's no redundant cables, just probably still have power to them. Like, you know, working on second-hand cars, sometimes you just don't know what's going on. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Okay guys, now I'm going to show you how to pop the tent up and how easy it is to get in the back of the tent. Remembering this car is massive, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to access the ladder, but it can be easily fixed with a milk crate or a small step ladder. If you guys want to start the timer, go right ahead because this won't take long. Straight up the ladder. You can easily use a ladder with no hands as well, so it's quite easy to navigate. Oh. Pop the tent up like that, and all you got to do is put these two little metal poles in and you're pretty much done. So under a minute I can get into bed, all weather. You don't have to worry about doing this in the rain, setting up poles, things like that. That's pretty much it. In you go to bed. You don't have to worry about the rain, things like that. The solar panels are still going to be working on the roof there. Even more so if you had the tent or your car facing the sun. It's even going to get a better directional, you know what I mean, the sun on the solar panels. Setting the tent up is, packing the tent away is as simple as that. Okay, I'm just going to show you guys the tent a bit better. Alright, so this is the Alucab Gen 3.1 rooftop tent, showing you the panels up the front there. Might as well make the most of that. Now we've had to modify the rooftop tent a small bit to fit those panels on there. They are quite big and they're taking up every inch of the space up the top there. So as you can see, we've made basically a perimeter frame and attached the whole frame as a solar array unit to the rooftop tent. So that does not just fit straight on the roof rack rails that come with it. However, the good thing about that is you still have the roof rack rails that came with it. So if you want to put a little bracket over the top of the panels, you can still attach surfboards or anything like that above the panels, and not going to interfere with that. So that's pretty much it for the rooftop tent. I am going to show you how to pack it back up because it's just as easy as how I got it. Okay, let's do it. Packing up the tent. Climb the ladder. What you're going to do is remove these metal poles. Again, you don't have to hold on to the ladder, which is great for using two hands, packing up the tent. Get this little elastic. That's gonna hold all the sides of your tent in. Give it a bit of a slap. And that's it. You're back on the road. You can also pack that tent away in the rain and nothing inside is going to be wet, and you can open it later on and dry it out. But if you do want to get on the road really quickly, it's as easy as that. I'm not even sweating, you know, the car will still be warming up by the time it took me to pack that away. So, and that's why I use that model tent. So it also fits really nice with the car. It's tapered at the front, it's better for the wind. I don't have to sell you the tent. I'm not a tent salesman, so I'm not going to go on forever about it, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to actually use these products and how nicely they fit on the car. G'day guys, fancy seeing you under here. I just wanted to emphasise the size of this car and how big it is with the Mark's four-wheel drive portal axle conversion. As you can see straight away, we've got an extra 6 inches underneath the diff crown here, and that's achieved with a 4-inch portal axle drop down hub and then the 2-inch extra bigger tyres. We've also added a 1-inch suspension lift to this car, so that's going to raise the car above the suspension by 1 more inch, all fully street legal Australia wide. I brought a milk crate outside with me to show you how high this is above a milk crate. Almost, you know, plenty of room there, which is great for driving those deep track ruts. any sort of rocks on the track, logs, bloody what have you. It's priceless. The diffs are also wider by about 80 millimeters, and that's going to give you more stability off-road because your wheel track is wider front and back. So wider, bigger, all makes sense in the end. Now the Portal Axles kit also has upgraded brakes with new rotors. We've got stainless steel braided brake lines as well. The hubs are air locking as well, which I think I mentioned earlier. So now you don't have to get out of the car and lock the hubs. Above me we've got the protection plate for your radiator, the waterproof alternator, which I did also mention earlier, and all around we just got heaps of room up here. Now because this car's only got a 1-inch suspension lift, all your steering geometry is still the same, and you don't have problems at high speed or any sort of unusual wear on your suspension and steering components, because it's all tucked up nice and neatly out the way. So all you can see under here is just pure daylight basically, and that's how we like it. So that's pretty much it for it under here. Again, we should also admire how clean this car is underneath. It's never going to be this clean again, so it's really nice to look under here and just admire the engineering that's gone into all this. We also have King's remote res shocks all around, and the Lovells 1-inch lift in the front, and we've got parabolic leafs in the rear. So the parabolic leafs and the whole suspension in general is rated to 3.95 tonne, and that's also included in the GVM upgrade when the car was registered. So all the rego's done, all the engineering's done pre-rego, so you never have to worry about getting an engineer certificate or any sort of headaches with the road authority or the police. This thing's fully street legal and it's absolutely safe. So in my opinion, I think it's safer than a standard one because it's wider and it's got better brakes. Welcome to the interior. So straight away you'll probably notice the sound is different. This has had a full interior strip down back to bare metal, and we've installed the Car Builder's Stage 2 sound deadening. That's on the floor, the rear wall, the ceiling, and inside the doors. And straight away it's deadened the inside of the interior and gets rid of all the road noise, the heat from the transmission, and just an all over better feel of a car. It actually takes the farm ute out of the thing, if you know what I mean. As you can see, we've got the Department of Interior floor and ceiling consoles, and we also have a Bushman Roadie 15 litre fridge. This is connected to the second battery, so it can be used all the time and not have to worry about flattening the starter battery. We've also modified the center console down here and included a little carbon fibre panel there to mount all of our switches. We have switches for the selfie, the light bar DRL, and the amber light bar DRL. We've got the airbag controls up here, and we can turn the rear compressor on from right here. We can also adjust the rear airbags up and down. These are electric switches controlling an air solenoid, and we've got a little display there as well which is showing our airbag pressures. USBs all over the place, and we've also got the GME handset here, which is been positioned in a way that you can actually see the screen while you're driving from the driver's position there. You can easily grab it, talk, see what channel you're on and things like that without too much trouble. Up the front here we've got the 10.5 inch Kenwood Multimeter head unit. This thing is the tits, and I have the same one in my car. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay, it's got 2 rear cameras at the back. We've got one at the top of the canopy and one at the tow bar for reversing. We have an optional input here for a dash cam, which is connected straight through this, and you can see all the footage and play with the settings on the head unit itself. And yeah, it's a huge big screen. I love it actually. Up the top here we've got 2 red arc gauges on a pillar pod. One's your EGT and your boost, and the other one is oil pressure and oil temp. So they're nicely fitted in the corner here out of the way. And down near my right knee there we do have the steady switch controller, which is controlling all your light bars at the front, all your lighting, and we've got the red arc brake controller as well down there. Also with the stereo, we do have the 9-inch speakers front and back on their new door cards and map pocket holders. They also have USBs on the doors as well, which is handy for, you know, putting your phone in the door and just not worrying about it. That's also wired up to the front second battery, so you can leave them on all the time. In the back there, we've got the Department of Interior rear side consoles. They've got just some cup holders for the passengers and black duck seat covers. That's pretty much it for inside here. Oh, one last thing. And lastly, we've got the Red Arc Red Vision second display mounted up here where the mirror was. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's mounted to a gimbal, a ram mount gimbal, and we can move that around wherever we feel like. The good thing about having this unit up the top there is we can keep an eye on everything in the back, including the battery consumption. We can see the fridge temp. We can see the dog area temp. We can turn the dog fan on if we like, if it's getting a bit hot in there. We can also keep an eye on our water level. We can turn the fridge on and off. You name it. Whatever the back area can do, this can do also, which is pretty handy. And from the driver's seat as well. So if you're fanging it down the highway and you want to turn the fan on for the dog, you don't even have to stop. So that's a nice touch. And that pretty much wraps it up here in the inside. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps up this beast. I hope I covered everything in the video. Like I said, there was a lot to go through there and I probably missed a few things, so please check out our website. We're going to have all the information for this build on there, plus more. There's going to be some photos and obviously this video and a full rig rundown and a list of everything we've done to it from scratch. So I hope you liked the video guys. Please like, subscribe and share, and we'll try and produce better videos as we get better at them. Also guys, please check out all the other builds on our page. Pretty much every car we work on, we have a rig review on there and some info and videos, so check that out. And also our YouTube channel has heaps of other videos you might enjoy. So thanks again for watching guys, and we'll see you on the next one.